Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Thoughts on Education. We have with us the Dean of IFIM Law School, Bangalore, Professor Padmanabha Ramanujam. Professor Ramanujan has done his Masters in Law in Intellectual Property Rights from University of East Anglia, Norwich, UK. Sir has vast experience of around 20 years, wherein he has been a part of a leadership group at OP Jindal Global University and Oro University. He specializes in law, economics, intellectual property, competition law, among others. So we are glad to have you here, sir, and thank you for this opportunity. We are really thankful.
Thank you, Deepankar, and thank you, Collegedunia, for hosting me today. It's indeed, I'm really looking forward for this conversation. I have in the past worked with you people while I was at the capacity at OP Jindal as an associate dean, but I'm really looking forward to this interaction.
Glad to know that, sir, you have past experience with us, and hope that was an engaging and fruitful one.
Absolutely.
Sure, sir. So going ahead with the interview, the first question, sir, that I had when I went through your profile and went through the college profile, that, sir, you have been in the education sector for almost 20 years now. So, and you have held key positions at various educational institutes throughout the professional career. So what has kept you connected to the education sector? What propels you to be to continue here?
So let me articulate this. One of the important aspects. Just a second.
Okay.
As a student, I studied in Bangalore University Law College. I also went to National Law School Bangalore, but my entire idea of education really opened up while I was in UK and while I was an Erasmus Mundus Fellow in Germany. The reason what brought me back to academia is I think there are two key words. While we were even building Jindal, these two key words actually helped me to build a world-class institution. And I think those two key words are academic freedom and interdisciplinarity. So I feel increasingly, education institutions in India have not been able to understand and give full impetus to the word academic freedom. I think it becomes a responsibility of the dean, somehow, heads of the institutions, to start understanding that a child all throughout his school is being told what to study. And if he's going to come to university and again we give him the same experience of you have to study this because it is mandatory for you to study, then the very experience of learning gets defeated. Whenever we talk about quality in delivery or quality of academic program, we always talk about learning outcomes. We also talk about teaching outcomes. But you have to know teaching and learning outcomes, the foundation of them itself is on academic freedom. Nobody would be interested to learn until unless you don't give him the freedom to choose the courses. Mind you, not only the freedom to choose courses, but also the freedom to choose his own way of being assessed. I think that is critical. I think this is what, kept me alive at various institutions, because I thought I could nurture the academic freedom, which is not only important for faculty, but also very, very important for students today. I think increasingly students are doing well who got more opportunities to study courses which they liked, which are optional or elective courses, vis-a-vis students who had no such opportunity. So the only students who got such opportunity could explore new courses, and that helped them to get connected into new employment avenues. So you have to know this. I'll give you one experimentation what really worked. Many years back, I was wanting to introduce a very interesting course in infrastructure law. You need to know that last 2 decades, India has been pumping money in infrastructure law. But we did not have any lawyer who had the unique knowledge to actually write infrastructure contracts. There was only one book that was available in the entire India, to know or study about infrastructure law. So I went to IDFC, which is one of the niche organizations which, works on funding and, infrastructure projects. I said, why don't you guys who are practically, applying it, come and give a course for students who are interested in studying infrastructure law. So I brought them to teach a course, and that became a practice-based course. Now, 20 students took the course. 20 students got an internship with IDFC. 5-6 students got a job with IDFC because IDFC was basically teaching a course which they wanted to, master their students.
Yep.
Absolutely, right? So this I could not have done if I would not have brought that flexibility in the curriculum. The flexibility only represents academic freedom. So I feel very strongly that what connected me to education is the kind of experimentations that I could do, with both, I would say, curriculum and also at the same time enhance academic freedom to students.
Amazing, sir. Sir, adding one small point here, that giving that academic freedom also makes a person realize that there are decisions that he or she can take on his own. His life decisions also helps there also. So a perfect point.
Absolutely.
Sir, going forward, you have been the dean of IFIM Law School now for some time. So what is your philosophy of leadership? There would be many top management people and other guys, whole of the management who would be leading in some ways or every day maybe. So what is your style there?
I think this is a very important question, and I have a different take on this. Unfortunately, when I see the landscape of leadership in India, leaders somehow tend to compete with their own staff, with their own faculty members. And therefore, that competition only makes them more arrogant, only makes them less accessible, only makes the institution itself, has a very, you create a, I would say, an hierarchical, I would say, administrative setup where, it is very difficult for students or faculty to even walk into a dean's office and have a conversation. Mind you, my experience of studying outside India has always told that the dean is, should be the least important person in the institution. Only if he's the least important person in the institution, he can understand and he would welcome people to come and discuss problems with him. So my style of leadership is, to be very honest, first of all, your staff, your faculty member, are really the most important people. They are the ones who are interacting with the students on day in, day out times. So there's no way you can compete with them. There's no way you cannot fulfill the shoes of a teacher, right? So if you're an administrator, you need a teacher who can teach, who can understand the student. So first of all, you need to build that collegiality. That collegiality can only get built if you really understand that if you're a dean, you cannot be the most important person in that institution. If you understand this as a dean, if you understand this as a leader, I think that institution will prosper more, because the feedback that will come from both the faculty and the student will actually help you in providing constructive, I would say, ideas for building the institution, and it will not be destructive. But many a times, 80% of the institutions in India, mind you, I am saying this, doesn't believe in this ideology. It believes in an ideology where you create, an ivory tower around your leadership, where neither the dean is accessible to the faculty, nor it is accessible to the students. At the end of the day, you're taking decisions without even having the intelligence, which needs to come both from the faculty and the students. And I think, rather than saying a leader, the dean should become a facilitator. And I strongly believe in that word, that I'm merely a facilitator, and I'm not a leader. And I think, I think there cannot be any better word to describe that my style of working at IFIM Law School is to make sure that I can facilitate the decisions which eventually will be taken by the faculty and the student.
Sir, I think what you have said, it doesn't only apply to the colleges and institutions, but also to the corporates and everywhere. That leaders are have been like that they are not accessible, and once they are connected to the people on ground, then only they can lead, right, sir? So, sir, going to our next question, we are going just forward from the leadership question. How do you strategize about the marketing and administration of the IFIM Law School, or is it done by a team, or is it what is the vision that you have or your team has there?
I think you're asking two questions. Marketing is a separate question, and the administration is a separate question. I believe that as far as the marketing goes, right? I think it should be the responsibility of the dean of every institution to make sure that you are the chair of the admissions and outreach committee. You need to know how difficult it is for your institution to recruit students. That is when you know where you actually stand and what are the steps you need to take. If you think that admission is not important, then you're not understanding the essence of institution building. Actually, there cannot be any university or colleges, or for that matter, any institution without students. So the most important aspect, in the entire idea of institution building is to recruit students. So my marketing strategy is very simple. I want, as a dean of a school, I lead the marketing strategy. My marketing strategies are threefold. One, you need to have students to know about your university, to come to your website. That is like the lead to application to an admission process. That's one strategy, which is a strategy which is adopted by most. But I also believe in what is called as a direct admission strategy. If you are really strong and if you think that you can, you have the conviction to go ahead and convince students, I think you should start accepting some of the top LSAT scores or top entrance exam scores, which is accepted by many good institutions, and then compete with them to make sure that you get the students from that group. The more you compete, the more weaknesses you will know, and the more weaknesses you'll know, you'll be able to plug them and build your law school. So I believe in threefold approach. One, go to schools, interact with students, go to coaching institutes, interact with students, try to create open houses for parents, try to create open houses for counselors. There are three verticals for me. There are four important stakeholders in any admission process, which involves students, which involves parents, which involves counselors, and which also involves teachers in the school. You need to know that when you give an offer to a student, that student is going to run first to his teacher. Who is he close to? Saying, is this an institution worth going? And if that teacher doesn't have the knowledge about this institution, whatever you are, he doesn't care, right? So the idea is to make sure that you understand this entire process as a student. What would you do as a student? How do you make your decision process as a student? Once you know that decision process, how you construct it, then your marketing ideology and the philosophy of outreach becomes very simple, right? Second is, you spoke about administration. For any college or any institution, there are four important aspects which you need to focus on. One, as I said, admission. Second, student affairs. Third, research. And fourth, academic. If you plug these four with good young faculty who can lead them, then your idea of university administration is taken care. I strongly believe that the assistant deans should take the load of the work because they are the future deans. And if you don't give them an opportunity to experience, commit mistakes and learn from the mistakes, what is the kind of leadership, or what are you talking about? You're talking about taking students and making employable. You're talking about taking faculty and making them, grow, right? So I think it's the idea and the philosophy of my administration style is to take young people, give them responsibility, give them the freedom to take decisions, and have a discussion with them if the decisions go wrong, to back them and to make sure that they actually are groomed to become future leaders. This philosophy, I'm talking to you because I have to say the mentor, Professor C. Rajkumar, built me like that. When I was at Jindal, he got me very young and made me assistant dean at the age of 28. And he nurtured me and he allowed me to take decisions. So I could actually build the entire admissions office. I could actually build the entire academic and curriculum structure for the school. And he allowed us to make mistakes and learn from the mistakes. I think that is very important. If you really want a good administrative philosophy to evolve, you need to recruit young, give them, you don't need white hairs to run, or take administrative decisions. They are very closely connected to the younger generation. They understand, what is working, what is not working much better than in fact, even my generation. So you have to believe in that. And what is the point of you competing with? There's no point of competing with them. Rather, give them that freedom to take decisions and let them take the decisions, and you hold meetings, and in those meetings, you ask them to present ideas and you give your feedback, and it's up to them to take that feedback or not. I believe in that kind of administration, and my marketing philosophy is very simple. Think like a student and lay down a strategy like a student, and then it'll work.
Perfect, sir. uh, basically empowering your team helps the most, I guess. That is what.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sir, a general question in between that, how open do you think the Indian education system are to the people coming from abroad, or maybe I am talking about the general education system and also IFIM law school in particular, that to people coming from different backgrounds, to people coming from different economic background, social background, or maybe coming from different countries also. So how open is it?
You have to take this with a pinch of salt. Indian education system is very rigid. It is not open to any flexibility, or it's not open to any, I would say, we talk that India over the period of years has been the helm of education, be it, Takshashila, where the entire idea and the philosophy of, getting education started in India. But unfortunately, we have let that legacy go away, and we have become, unfortunately, the Britishers' legacy that is left behind in constituting very, I would say, narrow approach towards degrees. And they have moved on. We have got stuck with those, philosophy of education. But I would say, however rigid the system is, and the only welcoming factor and the gold silver lining in this is the NEP, National Education Policy, which is trying to question and challenge, what we have been doing. And I hope the moment the institutions start implementing the NEP, unfortunately, NEP has died down because of Corona. Nobody's talking about NEP as much as they should be, thanks to Corona. Right now, they're all gone back to survival rather than, creating innovations in academia or pedagogy. Right. So, NEP has brought really good structures. So I'll talk about NEP on another day. We could have a discussion on one-on-one on NEP. I'll be very happy to take you forward. But just to cut the long story short, I think even if the system is rigid, right, you follow the system. But at the same time, make some baby steps to make sure that the experience of learning is unique to that student. Every university can do that. Okay, you have to follow the UGC structure, follow it. You have to follow the university whom your degree is affiliated, follow it. But create a parallel structure, a small structure which could enhance the learning outcomes for students. Create flexibility, teach. See, every regulation tells you what is the bare minimum you need to teach. Nobody is giving you a maximum cap. You increase the level, no? And assess them and give it to students some certification courses. Let them. Nobody stops you from doing that. Nobody wants to do it because nobody is interested in adding more work to them. The idea is very simple. The philosophy of institution can go beyond the regulatory aspects. If you want to elevate above the bare minimum that is regulated, nobody is regulating the maximum, right? They're only regulating the bare minimum. You follow that, but take onus on you, take extra faculty, take extra resources and build something unique over and above. Nobody's stopping you. But I think nobody wants to do that. At least, I'm trying to create my own unique CGPA system, which may not be useful to students, but because at the end of the day, they go and write the case study exam and they get the certificate. But my internship, my placement, my summer school program, my exchange program will be based on CGPA, which will make students to know that CGPA also they need to do. They need to take care of the CGPA. So it's up to the institution how you want to devise it. At the end of the day, students are here to get a good learning experience. If you can give them in whatever packaging you can, they'll welcome.
Sure, sir. Sir, my next question is somewhat connected to what you have said, that going above the bare minimum, that how is IFIM Law School connecting to the industry? How is it making its students industry ready, basically?
It's a good question. I have a lot of international experience. I've studied institutions abroad, how they tend to do this. At IFIM, we have a very interesting philosophy that as much as we give importance to theory, our 40 credits are practice-based approach, which encompasses 4 important aspects. 1, SIP, that is, social immersion programs. I think going forward, the word sustainability and community learning is going to become really critical. And community learning, you cannot do inside the class. You have to be, integrated with a society or a community, and you learn from that through that. So we make it mandatory that for every first and the second year students, they need to induct themselves for a minimum of 60 days of SIP programs, which is actually given to them by the university. That these are the projects you have to go and fulfill these projects or complete these projects. The second most important thing, what I feel today's students are lacking and which actually helps them is a PEP, which is called as the Personality Enhancement Program. PEP in IFIM is divided into two aspects. One is the 21st century skills, how we inculcate the 21st century skills into the mainstream curriculum. The second is the life skills. It could be yoga, it could be medication. I think it's important going forward that students learn that your mental health is going to be as important as your physical health is. So we focus on that. The third important aspect we feel, which many of the institutions are not focusing, I think going forward, research and students contributing to research is going to open up as a very important, I would say, employment opportunity. So we take research incubation very seriously. Every student has to complete a minimum of 10 to 12 credits of research incubation in 2 years. So every year they have set courses on research incubation. And the first 2 years are foundational years where they learn about research. And the third, fourth, and the fifth year are going to be the years when they use the learning to actually publish some white papers or publish some research papers. Research is not just unique to faculty, mind you. Research is also unique to students. The more you make the students research, the better the skills of research is going to improve, and which is actually going to make them employable. We are at the crisp of rewriting everything. Whatever we did the last 50 years, we plan to rewrite. So who's going to rewrite that? We have to train this generation to research, right? So that is research incubation. The fourth and the fifth are IIP. We strongly believe in a strongly industry-connected internship programs, which otherwise will not make sense. And the fourth is, and the fifth point is, as we strongly believe that we need to create flexibility in terms of enhanced elective courses. These are courses which students can select, students can bid, students can take, and students can learn. And they themselves will fix even the assessment pattern. So these are the 5-6 unique things which we're doing, keeping in mind it's not just creating employers for this century, but for the 21st century.
So you talked about how students should get into research and all. So a small question in between that. I have a very basic understanding of the law field in general, because the general public has a very basic understanding. What do you think would be the most lucrative, most promising area of law that the students can pursue? Or you find something specific that, okay, this area, maybe corporate law, or maybe this part of the law would be the most lucrative, most sought after field?
I think we are, what I call today as, we are in legal 4.0. So I'll tell you something about everybody talks about industry 4.0, but I want to talk about legal 4.0.
Okay.
There has been 4 different phases of evolution of, I would say, legal profession in India. The first phase was definitely the pre-independence phase, where people fought for the freedom and lawyers actually led you name anybody who was a freedom fighter, he was a lawyer. So they were probably the vanguard of the freedom struggle in India, and they made sure that India gets the freedom struggle. That's phase one. Second phase was lawyers trying to enact constitution, enact laws, and make sure that they could interpret the constitution. The second phase was largely between 60s, 70s, and 80s, where the courts and everybody were busy interpreting the law. What the Article 14 is, what the constitution law was saying, what does it actually mean, what did Ambedkar think it was, and what it is actually today. So we'll spend that phase. I think the legal 3.0 was when Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh, as a finance minister, opened up the economy, which led to actually corporatization of India. That led to what is called as corporate law that we speak, corporate firms, law firms that we speak. So 90s, 2000 and 2010 was basically driven by the emergence of interest of students getting into corporate law firm. Legal 4.0 is going to be law and technology. You like it, you don't like it. The courts are moving towards online litigation, online dispute resolution. The classes are basically run online. The legal profession will shift some of its work online. the transaction cost of litigation is going to considerably come down because it is going online. Everybody by a click of a mouse can actually attend their matter as you speak or as you're at the work. So I think legal 4.0 is going to take you to a unique space, and next 20-30 years there's going to be an embracement of technology, not only into legal education, but significantly into legal profession, which will not only bring the number of litigations down, but will also increase the speed at which the courts or the cases can get dismissed or cases can get solved. I think the next 30-40 years, the students need to prepare themselves in acquiring skills which will actually put them, which they can put to use in the next 20-30 years, which is going to be the integration of law and technology. So if I am right, I think from the generalized corporate structure, we will be moving into specific and specialized sectors like law and technology, online dispute resolution, alternatives to litigation. So all those things which can just happen over a video conferencing will be more preferred than the ones which will only run on FTF model.
Amazing, sir. That was truly some insight. So, sir, going ahead, what is your and IFIM Law School's vision for the next few years, maybe next 5 years, next 10 years? What changes are you envisaging in next few years?
This is just a continuation and extension of what I already said. My IFIM's Law School vision is going to be to create the 21st century lawyer. Very simple. We are not we want to give them the skills that would equip them not for the immediate employment maybe, but for the future employment. How? Yes, it is very important for students to understand that some aspect of lawyering work will be done by AIs going forward. Some aspects of basic drafting will be done by artificial intelligence, which doesn't need thinking, which doesn't need creativity, will all works that will not be with the lawyers anymore. So therefore, the lawyers need to enhance their skills, negotiation skills, mediation skills, preemptive litigation skills. I would say, how do you resolve disputes online? So those kind of skills they need to evolve, they need to learn. So the vision of IFIM is very clear. We want to increase the practice-based approach, experiential learning approach, and reduce the theoretical hours that the students spend. And this practice-based approach will be more integrated with technology, will be more integrated with the future, I would say, ideas of learning. And that would make people, to enhance and to make themselves skill-oriented for things to come. Whatever the jobs you think are jobs today may not even exist, in next 20, 30 years. So you need to think beyond. There is a very interesting book which I would ask all the audiences to read. It's called Tomorrow's Lawyer by Richard Susskind. He talks about, not today, he talks about the next 30 years, how the profession can change. So our impetus is to make sure that students are, IFIM students become actually tomorrow's lawyer.
So my last question would be, sir, do you see any, there are two questions actually here, that do you see any challenges that IFIM Law School faces currently? And the other part of the question is that what is one that you see in IFIM Law School that maybe the outside world doesn't know about, that you want to highlight, that students don't usually get to know, that, okay, the aspirants who are looking at the school don't get to know that, okay, this is something that we can look forward to when we join this college. So there are two questions.
I think every institution is going through this challenge, and this challenge is not unique to IFI. I think, every institution cherishes on the word diversity. Now, because of COVID, mobility of the students has become really difficult. Students are tending to choose institutions which are locally more preferred than moving out to different, states or districts and studying. I think that's going to be a very difficult challenge for all the institutions. How do you create that diversified environment for your students to study? And mind you, COVID is going to be there. You like it, you don't like it. It's going to be there for at least another 2 years. And institutions should know how to survive in these 2 years, and to make sure that your recruitment is going on, to make sure that the fact that the parents are actually paying the fees even during these difficult times. So these are really, really difficult times. So, and these challenges are going to be there with all the institutions. But how you help your students, how you help the parents, and how you welcome the new students, I think is going to define. Many institutions may survive, many institutions may get closed down, but the ones who survive will only show the strength and solidarity, not only in decision making, but also to tell, how they could accommodate, and be more flexible with I would say the increasing difficulties that the student community is facing. I think this is the challenge. And if you say one thing is, IFIM as a brand is very well known for business school. And I think people should really take note of that, because we have a BBA LLB program, and the BBA courses are actually taught by the IFIM Business School. It's the Jackson School, or the IFIM Business School, is actually QS World ranked, and their marketing program is 51 plus in the world. It's competing with some of the top IM business schools. And those are the faculties who come and actually teach you the BBA component of the BBA LLB. So you need to know that, we are a brand already, and, and we are a niche school in terms of we don't want at any given point of time more than 120 students studying in our law school, in every batch. We are not a shop. We want to be a niche focusing on creating the 21st century lawyer. This is how I would end.
Perfect, sir. Sir, any message that you have for the youth or who have aspirants, maybe because of different time?
I don't have any specific message, but I really grateful to Collegedunia to reaching out to me for conducting this interview.